Hey everyone. Okay, so do you guys have like a plethora of these doilies, paper doilies? Or am I the only one that, I mean, this is just a drop in the hat. I mean, a drop in the bucket or a drop in the hat. I never say my little phrases right, do I? And because look at all of these. How ridiculous. And really, I don't know why I get them because, I mean, obviously, Shabby Chic is not. I can see where you would use them a lot in that style. They're beautiful and they go great with all the laces and the things, but not for how I make things. Why would I need, seriously, why would I need, four? What, let alone, and like I said, there are many, many more than this. So I don't know, but I did decide to try to, grunge some up and make it fit my style a little better. And I do love what happened. I mean, I love the grungy. They look great. I I only figured out a few things to do with them. Like I lined the inside of this envelope. I think that looks kind of neat. My lighting is always terrible, isn't it? That's a little better. You can see it that way. But I liked that. I lined the inside of that. That looked okay. And then I remembered I had gotten years ago when we used to do swaps. I used to do swaps this page edge, which is neat. And you just slip it on the edge of a page of a journal. I know you guys get sick of seeing this journal, but oh, look at these. You like these little triangle pockets? That was something I was messing with. Um, so you just slip it on the edge of a page, and then you've got all your decorating there and a pocket, which I think that looks great. But I don't really use this kind of style. I just think it's beautiful, though. So this was what I come up with. I put it on the book page, and then I put some heavier tea-dyed cardstock in there because the book page and this are so fragile. Thought about putting a pocket on it like the one that I had gotten the swap. And I guess that does look kind of cool. Maybe if I tore the edges more, not so square, I would like it better. And then I collaged some to packing paper, which I think it looks pretty neat. It's not showing the colors as good, but really, this doesn't look like a doily. It just looks like a big painted blob, doesn't it? I mean, you can kind of tell these are doily pieces I tore. I guess I was thinking that maybe I would make a cover out of this. And then I thought, well, maybe if I put real doilies on top, it would look a little better. And I had a real doily that, of course, you know me, I can't find it now. Oh, here's one. Maybe if I layered some real doilies or wrapped a doily around the spine. Done things lately that all it did was confuse me and stump me. And that's not the kind of videos I'm trying to make, I promise. Now, I did put one on this terrible tracing paper, and I thought, that that tracing paper, it would make it sturdy enough to make it a pocket. And I do think that will work. And I will probably tear around it because it is sturdier now. Probably tear around it and make this a pocket in a book. I think that would work out. This also makes me think of a tutorial that Treasure Books had probably 4 or 5 years ago. And she took a doily like this and did papers, any kind of scrap papers. I'll just use this since I had it. And then tore, bigger, just different sizes to make like a little notebook that you hung over the edge of a page. And each time she made it a little bigger so the papers showed more. And of course, Can't find a piece of paper to save my soul right now. Okay, so maybe the next one, and then tear it just a little bit larger than that one. So you have all these rough edges, and those were neat. I can remember making some of those and hanging them over journals. So, you know, you have kind of a layered look like this. Looks like a taco, doesn't it? And then she decorated this up and hung it over the top of a journal page. And that was cute. I think that's a cute idea, to make little notebooks out of them. So there was the ideas that I have so far. But I did make one more piece, and I didn't keep it. I put it in with the order, and I liked it. But here's some of the ones I've grunged up, and you know, if I had better lighting, I think you could appreciate these more. They look really good. This one doesn't so much because it's just kind of a green, but the back of it looked really pretty. These are the ones that I've made so far, just different sizes. And it's pretty much the same technique as was in our, you know, prettying up our white scraps. And I've done some big ones, but I don't know why, because really, other than they're so fragile, you couldn't really use them as a journal page without backing them to something. And I did, you know, use some of the PVA and glue mixture to make it stronger, but I don't know. I love them. I think I'll use them as clusters. I think I'll make little notebooks, maybe line some envelopes. I liked all of those ideas. I just don't think I need, you know, however many hundreds of them that I have. It's kind of unnecessary. But I thought if you have some of those and wanted to, you know, spice them up a little bit, I thought we could do that today. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of my way and I'll be right back. I decided to use wax paper today underneath instead of the normal packaging because I thought, for one, maybe it wouldn't glare as bad, and for two, it'll look really cool when this is done. And another neat thing that might be good, and I'm sure that you all have done this, is jelly printing. I bet if I use some of these on a jelly plate, they would look really cool. And to then, you know, use them on a page or whatever. Plus, it wouldn't tear them up quite as bad as this process is going to. I like tearing them up because I like the grungy. But, you know, even the ones I've gotten from the Dollar Tree really weren't, they were just as good as the ones, I don't even know where I got them. Just, you know, it's one of those things that just because there's 50 of them for a dime, yeah, that's a good deal, but you still don't need it. And I got to remind myself of that. So I am going to try that jelly printing. I think that would be gorgeous, especially some of these patterns. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. But let's color some of these. And then just to show you how I did it real quick, I don't know that it needs explanation, but you never know. So I would recommend gloves because it does get nasty, but I'm getting ready to take a shower anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I did finally watch Louise Heinzel's video on the making the scraps, the white scraps. Oh my gosh, I fell in love, especially with the coffee and her using the gesso. Oh, I loved that. I really, really did. So I brought in some coffee this morning thinking I want to splatter on some coffee. But I think just to get it a little bit of color first, I'm just going to spray on some gathered twigs. And this is what I did on all of the other ones. I just kept spraying and mopping it up and that kind of thing. That's all I did. And I really liked her tutorial on that. I really did. She used some purple, villainous something. Man, I liked how that turned out. And again, I'm not a purple person, but I thought that looked great. So I'm going to throw a little purple down. This one is Dusty Concord. It's not near as dark. And I do have some different kind of purple. I might try it too. But so that's all I did was I just kept spraying and, you know, and I sprayed water on is what I did. I would spray water to get it to moving around, but I think I want to use coffee this time instead. Ooh, I do like that coffee look. That's so pretty. But she let hers dry, you know, where it would have the great markings, and I think that's what I should do, but I'm not going to this time because I want to hurry up and show you some of these. Oh, but I can see why that would be awesome. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, before I would, you know, layer one, do one, mop it up with the second one, so I would get all kinds of great coloring, you know, kind of thing. But I think this time I'm just going to lay some down and start, because it doesn't really take them that long to dry. I am going to try some of that other purple, though. It's called Wilted Violet, and it's just one of these little minis. And, you know, it may not even work. I've had it so long that it just may not even work. I'm going to try some different colors that I didn't use before. Be some rusty hinge. And also, I think Louise did a lot of smooshing, which I love. I love the smooshing thing. And then, like, flicked it on there. Put it on a stamp block and then flicked it. I loved that. That was great. But I thought, you know, I would show you what ideas I had. You guys have the best ideas. Oh, gosh, it's so amazing. And then it makes me feel bad because I think, man, I should have asked them before I made the tutorial because they don't want to see another tutorial with their great ideas. But you do have great ideas. No kidding. I do like this orangish purple look. That's kind of cool. I'm liking how that's turning out. Maybe when I did them before, I just didn't put enough color in them to make myself happy. And like I said, but when I did it before, I would do one and move it away and let it dry. But I'm going to do all three of these at the same time and just kind of let them overlap each other while they're drying and see what kind of thing we get. I'll try some peacock feathers and some more of the gathered twigs. Just get a little more brown going in here. And maybe a little rusty hinge on this one. And a little bit more of the purple. That purple just, I really liked how she used that. It really, really stood out. Villainous Poison or something was what it was called. And her coffee looked a lot stronger than mine is. I don't know how to get coffee to look that great. Somebody, a friend of mine, I think it was Laura, said to use, I'm going to move those away because they're getting, it was a bad idea to muck them all together because I'm losing some of this color. It's all turned green. Said to use instant coffee and it made it stronger. That's probably what I should have done this time. I have done it and it does help, but I do think it would have been better if I would have made them and moved them off this, not left them all together like I did, because now I'm just kind of getting all the green. Okay, now this is where she dried them, and I think I'm going to dry them, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've dried them. I can't say that I'm loving it, but I did dry them, and I think that, thinking back, I think every time Louisa, I think I'm saying it wrong, and for that I apologize. I think in between layers she dried, and that's really what I should do because that gave it a more distinct, the things that she done were more distinct, not just a colored blob like I've got right here. So that being said, I think I'm going to put just a little bit more of some color. I don't know what. A little bit more brown. in these, and then I'll activate it with the coffee splatters. And that's why my coffee wasn't looking great like hers, because I had it so wet. And I know that you guys were going, hey, this is not going to look good. You got everything soaked to the bone. But I guess this way I'm showing you two different types, two different ways you can make it. And again, I don't think my coffee is near strong enough for this. I'm going to dry it again. I'll be right back. Okay, well, I wasn't loving the way my coffee was turning out, so I added some instant coffee to it to make it darker. I was also looking for my alum, A-L-U-M, because I had done an experiment before to see if adding alum to coffee made any kind of difference, you know, as far as making the color more you know, because I know that if you add it to eco dyeing and stuff like that, it does make the colors hold better, show up better, and it does definitely make a difference. I don't know, again, my lighting is poor. This one had the alum, this one didn't, and you can see this one is a lot grungier and darker brown than this one is. And that's just on index cards, but it does make a difference. I just couldn't find my alum, so I'm hoping that the instant coffee will make it dark enough that it looks a little better. I also grabbed some rust water, so we'll try that on the next batch. Okay, so now I'm going to try some of this darker coffee to see if it makes any difference. Ooh, it does look a lot better, doesn't it? Definitely is thicker. It's almost like soup or like a creamy soup. Might just be that this paper is so thin, it just, so I'm gonna, it's definitely going on darker. It's just not holding because of the, I'm sure of the kind of paper I got. So I'm gonna dry this real quick. Well, I'm definitely liking that better, and I actually am liking the back side better than the front side. You know, also, I bet a lot of you are thinking, why didn't you put some gesso on it, and that would make it the color set on and not soak in so much. I definitely am going to try that and let one dry, but so far I'm loving the back sides. They look great. So I'm going to take some of the Dr. Martens and water it down and flick it on there, and then let this dry. And then while I'm doing that, after I do that, I'm going to definitely maybe color a few with gesso and see if that helps it as far as holding the color, you know. Wonder about activating this with, or making it watering. I watered it down with some rust water. What that's going to look like. Okay, so I did find my alum. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that in my coffee. And I found my blue rit. I'd been looking for it. I had been looking for it for some time. So that's how these turned out. I think I love them. I don't think I did a good procedure or procedure. Yeah, I didn't operate, Christy. But that's how these turned out. So you can see the difference in that process, and then just laying them down, smushing them, you know, and gathering up. I sprayed with water, smushed it. I like the torn, you know, on the other better. But I would like to do it one more way, and that is I want to cover it with some clear gesso. These actually have the same pattern, I think, or pretty close. So I'm just going to paint these with clear gesso because I want to do one with some rust and one with, you know, just the two different colors is what I'm wanting to do. And then also, I would be interested, I'm going to have to try this on a jelly plate. I just think that's going to look great. I really do. This is just clear gesso, by the way. But I was thinking about this stuff, and I thought, you know, I'm never going to use all these. Maybe if this turns out to something, I can put some of these grungy ones in the shop. Maybe that would be something you guys would like to use. Do you think now I'm going to use them for sure? I won't use them in their white state, but I would definitely use them grunged up. I'm going to dry this real quick. Okay, I put down a fresh piece because I didn't want all of this to be reactivated when I sprayed with water, but I'm going to keep this because I like how it turned out. Lots of grungy goodness. I've got my 2 napkins here that I've put clear gesso on. I think I'm gonna do them one at a time where the colors don't make such a mess that they did last time. Some of this was from that sheet I had. It came off and I liked it. It's just the gathered twigs. Spray a little bit more of the gathered twigs. I'm gonna activate that with some of the rust water. And then I'm gonna dry it. And I know this is a long process. I think this would be something that you would want to do throughout the day. Like, do a little bit, leave it, come back kind of thing. I don't think I would have patience to sit here and keep drying in between. I don't even have patience to keep turning the camera on and off. So, I love the rust water. I think this piece right here would be just like that with the rust water. Look great on a book page. I love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of this, my coffee, on one side. Now this here I have not added the alum to yet. I wanted to do a little bit without the alum and see if it made much difference. Or if I could show you the difference. I know it made a difference on the index card. So this is without. And I better mark it somehow. And this is going to be with. This side will be with the alum. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit in my coffee. Not much. I bet there's not even an eighth of a teaspoon. And maybe I should use more. I don't know. Something I read when you're using alum is you can actually just put it on the piece to begin with rather than mixing it in with your liquid. Okay, so I'm going to dry that again. My vote would be on this one. It doesn't really make that much difference. I mean, even here in person, it's really, I can see somewhat that this is more intense than this side, but not enough that I would go out and buy some alum. I do know that on other pieces and the eco dyeing, it does really make a difference, but for this, I don't think it really made that much difference. So I'm loving just this color by itself. So I think that I'm just going to put maybe a little bit of this white on it just for some splatters. And I'm going to call that a done piece. I'm loving that. Really like how that turned out. Not even going to dry it because I'm just going to change my paper out and do the next piece. But I like this one. I hope you do. I like how it turned out. I'm going to try to tip it where you can see the colors better. It's just not... See, isn't that pretty? I like that. The gesso did make it sturdier. So yeah, I would probably go with coating it with gesso. So I think for this one, I'm just going to start it again with a little bit of gathered twigs. And again, I think I'll activate that with the rust water. And I'm going to dry that a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with some of that purple. Actually, I might just go ahead and use the purple before. Oh, I think I liked this one better, the wilted violet better. It was more vibrant. Okay, now I'm just going to dry that. Flick a little bit of the coffee water on it again. You know, for the sake of the video, I'm having to dry it with a heat gun in between, but if you had time to let this dry, you know, and just like I said, work on it, make it a project that you do throughout the day in between maybe other things, I really think this would be worth it to make all those white doilies something I will use. I'm definitely going to do this. Because with the gesso, of course, you already knew it, I'm sure. But it makes it sturdier, and I can so see making them pockets. And I just like this process way better than what I did before. You know, I got so wrapped up in turning the camera off and on for the blow dryer that I've turned it off when I was trying to show something and just calmed it up. But anyway, this is one of the guest checks I made. And I like it because it's grungy, but honestly, you can't even tell that's a doily because it's so, you know, that's the edge of it. I needed to use more of the actual center part, I think. So I thought if I would make one more, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to recap what I think I liked the best about this whole procedure or process. Why do I keep saying procedure? I think I'm doing some kind of surgery. I don't know. So I just took a guest check. This one I tea-dyed in the summer. It's got some pretty markings on it. And I tore off the bottom because I'm going to use that for my tab. And if you don't have a whale tail punch, I mean, you can just fold it. It looks great just like that. But I do have one, and it's not quite big enough to fit in there. I mean, I'll show you what I mean. But I just put mine down in here and fiddle with it to get it in the middle, or use a letter opener. But I have seen people to put a piece of sticky, like a post-it note, where they can grab a hold. Of course, mine's not wanting to stick. And that way they can feed it in like that. To me, this is more trouble than if I had just used my letter opener. But you can just slide it down in there with that. And see, mine isn't quite big enough to go from edge to edge, but it still looks, it's enough of a punch that it still looks like a whale tail. Right, so on this part, I think it's going to look better with a, you know, a bigger doily like this. I might just wrap it around like that. And this one doesn't have a lot of holes, so it's not as big a deal. But on the ones that have like a whole lot of holes, I mean, you could either use a glue stick, or I just used a little bit of my PVA and water mixture and painted it on here so that I would for sure get it, you know, everywhere. I just don't have the patience to glue around each of those little holes. And you could like let the edges stay up some like that. Grunge it up a little bit. I would probably pull it up a little bit and do something like that versus it looking totally flat. Then I would just go over that edge. And another thing I think I would do is take some of the distress tape, maybe the age tape, and put on there maybe somewhere. And, I just took a number stamp. Got some numbers here. They look more like in a little column, like you would actually find, I think, on a guest check. I think I'll use black. And I'm not worrying about putting them in a straight. I meant to go a little bit more crooked because, you know, sometimes when they're adding stuff up and writing down your prices, they don't get real, I mean, they're in a hurry. They got a lot of people to wait on, so they just do it kind of haphazard. And I usually draw a line like that. I don't know why. It doesn't really make any difference. And I like to take this lighter saddle brown and my coffee, kind of looks like coffee rings. I like to use that, and because that made sense to me that there'd be coffee stains on a guest check, right? Something like that. I thought that looked kind of cute, kind of cool, kind of cute, kind of something. And then just to, I don't know why, I put a thank you on the back. Oh, there's some more of that pulled up edge I want to get. Grungy edge. Then I just put my tab on, and I'm pretty sure I will put an eyelet in it. I really like that, and I like the addition of the doily. Then I think we'll use one of our number stamps or number charms that we used with the scraps. It's cute. And then I think when you put it in your book, if you put it in a pocket, you know, made from a doily, that would be fun. Maybe that's doily overkill. I don't know. I also think that I would love it, like them now for pockets, especially with the gesso, because, you know, they're way more sturdier. And I can certainly see me using this on the side of a page. And I really do like these little tags to put in our journal. So to summarize, I think, well, I know that I liked the method best like Louisa. I think you need to put some gesso on it to make it stronger, which she didn't do that, but I'm just saying put some gesso on it first, make it stronger, because these are just, you know, flimsy little doilies, really. The ones I have are. They're not linen or anything like that. But I think, you know, to make them a page edge, something like this would be great. I think that when you're coloring them, to definitely dry them in between. That helps set your colors where they're not. See, doesn't that look good? I like that. And then maybe do a vellum thing. I really like it. Really like this. Or maybe put some coffee stains on it. I'm really happy with how the gesso ones turned out. So I would definitely use them as pockets for the tags. Love, love this idea. And like I say, I would definitely go with Louisa's idea of, you know, set your colors in between. Otherwise, you're going to get, you know, this, which if that's the look you're going for, because I like this too. I really do. This was one that was set. You can definitely tell the difference. These were not. So this is just mopping up the colors like I did with these. Gives you more of a fragile, and I didn't put the gesso on, but I will so use these in backgrounds. I did like it pretty good on the inside of an envelope. That's something I would do. I like the idea of a, you know, a page edge. Depends on the look you're going for. I do love this. I mean, I love how the colors come out. And like I said, I would spray some on, wet it, mop it up, keep doing that till I was happy with the color. And then I didn't change my underneath paper. I would go on to the next doily and do the same thing. But, you know, that might work well if you gessoed them first and they wouldn't tear up quite so bad. But, I mean, this one, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to use it. You know I will. Don't let anything... Try not to let things go to waste. But it doesn't look like a doily. I think if I had watched Louisa's video before I started making these, I would have been a lot happier with the outcome. Because I definitely think that was the way to go. Use the gesso first, then start doing your colors and dry them in between. Definitely how I would do it from now on, because you can always tear them and get this look from, you know, mopping them up later, if that's, you know, what you want. But I like these. I hope you do. I hope that it inspires you to get some of those doilies back out and maybe play with them. Maybe you're already doing this. Maybe I'm the last one to think I really need to do something with this. I have so many. Goodness. And like I said, maybe I need to just start putting them in my shop. If I did put them in my shop, would you want the grungy kind or just the white ones where you could play with them and, do your own thing with them. Let me know what your thoughts are on that, or if I should just keep my doilies to myself. You're the fool that bought them, so figure out a way to use them. As always, thank you guys for watching and putting up with this nonsense. I really appreciate you. Appreciate your suggestions. My goodness, you guys have so many great ideas. I can't wait to show some of them and do some of them. And I'm going to get better at the comments. I'm going to I'm going to write down a name, who did it, so I can say thank you to who told me, because as it is right now, I'm just like, somebody commented. So I'm going to try to do better about that. And also, if you have a YouTube channel, or if you're just tech savvy, how do I know that I'm for sure answering all of the comments? I mean, I scroll down and I try to get them all, but goodness, I've noticed some that I totally missed from quite a while back, and I don't know how to catch that. I don't know how I can be for sure that I see every comment. So please know, if I don't respond to you, it's not because I didn't like your comment or I'm ignoring. I just missed it. I don't know how I'm missing it. Speaking of ignored your comment, I've mentioned in previous videos that, you know, a hateful comment's really wasted on me, because I have 3 brothers and they were mean as dogs, and their pastime was beating me up. So, I don't, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I think it's funny. Somebody commented, uh, too many words, or very much words. And I got tickled, and I thought, okay, so I talk too much, evidently, is what that's saying, which I do. That's funny. It cracked me up. That, or I don't know. It was worded funny, like too many words or very many words. But the name was not a name that I could pronounce. So maybe she was just saying, I don't understand you. Which, you know, people that do speak English don't understand me, because I talk so simple most of the time. But anyway, again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips for me on how to catch all my comments, let me know. If you have any suggestions on the Etsy, should I put them in there? Should I just, try to use them up and obviously quit buying them? I don't need any more craziness. Anyway, thank you for watching. As always, I really, really appreciate you. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.